Hey guys! So I am here to talk about the 8-day water fast that I did. I call it a prayer and water fast. I didn't document it day by day because it was kind of personal for me of why I was doing my fast in that moment in time. So it didn't feel right to record the journey for everybody. But now that I'm in a different space, I feel really encouraged to share my story so that it can give you a little bit of insight if you're thinking about doing an 8-day water fast. Now, it is really important that you consider a lot of things before doing a fast that consist of no food for such a prolonged period of time, like your health and everything like that. Assuming that you're in great health, then I see no reason why you shouldn't do it. I am pretty thin already, so I wasn't really doing it for any weight loss reasons. I did lose about 20 pounds, which I wasn't looking forward to. Like, I prayed to God, I was like, can I not lose that weight? But I did end up losing that weight, so I got really thin, and that's why I didn't prolong the fasting. But the first 3 days of the water fast was actually really easy for me because I was staying in prayer every single day, and I don't know if that's what got me through, but your stomach would growl and then it would just move on. So I did keep busy with a lot of other things that I was doing. I went on walks in the morning and then as the sun was going down. So that was really nice. I would say on the 4th day of my water fast, in the morning it was fine. I was like doing my own research and studies, but then at nighttime I felt a lot of emotional things come up, and so I purged that all out and it was really good. But then the next day I woke up and I did not feel good, but I forced myself to get out of bed. I went on a hike, like not a full length hike, just a little hike to go lay down on the grass, and I could just feel my body burning up, almost like I was having a fever. And then I felt the mucus in your ear, I guess. I felt it popping and I just felt a lot of things happening. So I immediately came home. I went into bed and I kind of hibernated that entire day. I just allowed myself to be sick and just stay in bed and drink water. And from my research of what I was studying and everything like that, it's basically when that's happening, it's your body is basically, it's not getting any food, which is, it's not terrible, but it's starting to eat all the scar tissues, inflammation, mucus that's in your body as food. And so it eats all that up, which is actually a really good thing. I would say that if I was getting worse, then I would have had to go to the doctors. But after the 5th day was over, on the 6th day, I woke up and I felt great. Like, I did not feel sick. I did not feel like I was having a fever. I knew that my body had healed itself properly, because the thing is, when you're always eating, your body is using all the energy in your digestive system to break down the foods and to use it the way that your body needs to use it. But the problem is that we're continuously eating. So when you're supposed to be resting, your body needs to be able to not focus on digesting and focus on other things of the body to make sure it's healing itself. But most people have habits of the way they eat, whether they eat hours before bed, so then your body's actually not resting when you're sleeping, it's digesting, and that's the time when it should be, healing itself. Or you're eating throughout the entire day, so your body really never gets the time to shut down on its stomach to really go to work on your entire body. And so it's really important I think fasting is actually really great. I've decided to implement it every Sundays as a time of prayer for me, but every Sunday from Saturday sundown to Monday sun up is, so Sunday I would be fasting 24 hours. It's actually really beneficial, and it gives my stomach and my body time to just adjust and heal, go into ketosis, and do what it needs to kind of do. So so 5th day I felt that fever, 6th day I felt great. So on the 6th day I actually did no water, no food. That's called a dry fast. A dry fast is very intense. I did a lot of research on it. I think the longest dry fast that I was seeing was like 50 days, no water, no food. And so it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, if you look in the Bible, Moses did no water, no food for 40 days, and that's when he wrote the 10 Commandments. Jesus I think he did more of a water fasting. Not that it was like a fad kind of thing, but Jesus didn't eat for 40 days as well, and that's when he went out to the desert. I know I'm relating it to biblical things, but it's really cool in the Bible just to see like what fasting is spiritually for them. And even in like yogi and Middle Eastern, or not Middle Eastern, but the Eastern hemisphere, like fasting is actually a form to become close to spirituality, to source, to oneness. And that's actually the reason why I did it. There was a lot of heaviness that was going on in my mind, and I needed a lot more clarity and focus. And so I decided to fast, and just to stay more aligned and connected to source, because I felt a little conflicted and frustrated with certain situations that I wasn't clear-minded about. And so I needed that clarity. So I needed to deny temptations of my body, like, cravings, all that stuff. I needed to deny all that stuff so that I could get really clear and focused with my mind. And that's what kind of happens, like when you fast, your stress levels start to equate out. You start to produce really good stress for your body, because you can just research all that, because I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to like give you all this information and then you just kind of bank on that. Like, it's really important doing all your research. I did hours and hours of research before going on this fast. I was definitely guided to do this fast for spiritual reasons, and I'm really glad that I did. So 7th day, I did start drinking water again, because I attended a wedding and I didn't want to be so fatigued. Energy level, I was fine. I didn't feel like I was gonna faint. I think by the 7th day, I could get up and down, and I wasn't lightheaded. Like the first couple days, you got to go slowly on that. But energy-wise, I was okay. I was a lot more reserved, though, I would say, and I don't know if that's because I didn't want to exert so much energy, but I found myself just speaking a lot more lighter, and maybe not having so much to say, but I just felt a lot of peace also within myself. There was a lot of peaceful moments where my thoughts wouldn't carry on and ramble on. It just felt more like I was observing a lot of things. I was definitely observing a lot more, and I just felt a lot more in touch and softer with my spirit and soul. So that was something during the fast that I noticed. And so on the 7th day, which was a Saturday, so I attended the wedding. I did drink water again, so I only did dry fasting for one entire day. And then on Sunday, I drank water, and then that's the day I got baptized. So it was like a beautiful ending. I didn't really plan it that way, but it just happened, and so it was really a great thing. And then Monday morning, I got carrot juice and celery juice, and I intook that, and I just felt grateful. And I think through the entire fast, I was definitely staying in prayer mode, but what I gained from fasting is coming back to gratification and gratitude of just the simple things in life, how food is such a gift. And sometimes in America, especially, I'll speak for myself, that we are in so much gluttony. There's so much food around constantly. Like, there's food for any reason, where a pint of ice cream because I'm on my cycle, or I'm feeling down, or desserts here, desserts there, and like eating through the entire day. It's like such a privilege to have all that food, yet I found myself at times like just not really, like, I would pray over my food, but not feeling as grateful as you do once you go on a fast, because you realize the relationship between you and food is such a gift. It's also a relationship, I would say, for sure, because the food's nourishing you, and it's like you need to give so much gratification to that. And I think besides food as well, you start noticing how like life is just so precious. The air that we breathe is so precious, especially when you do a dry fast. You're basically surviving on air, like you're breathing in source life. So I think you just kind of come back to basics of how and even in the Bible, it said everything's just a bonus, your family, your relationships, your friendships, everything that's outside of you is a bonus, your parents, everything, because in a matter of moments, you could not have that as well. Your job, your phone, like every little thing is just such a gift. And the only thing that we really need is the breath of life. Like the breath of life is the only thing that keeps us going, and so breath is such a gift as well. And to really breathe in deeply, I think I felt a lot more connected to nature as well, wanting to preserve nature and do the right things in the world. And so during my fast, I got on this big hype about, wow, what kind of life am I going to lead after this fast? Like, yeah, I'm going to be fasting every once a week. That's great. But this fast is like, I don't want to come out of this fast going back to my old ways and my old behaviors and who I was. So like, what do I want to hone in on this fast? Like, what am I realizing? And there's so many things that you realize, like when you're fasting also, because you're not focused on food, you're constantly now focused on your thoughts, you're focused on you're focused on everything other than food. And then you realize how much time food does take up. And like in those focusing on you realize like, wow, you get to know yourself. Like, wow, these are thoughts that I have, like self-limiting beliefs that I have about myself. And then like what really holds me back in life, and like, behaviors, habits. It's really nice though. I spoke to some other people. They were like, yeah, I get really mean during the first couple of days of fasting, and my personality changes. But that's the one thing I think I noticed with myself is like my personality didn't change. I didn't like become like evil or anything like that. If anything, I was more compassionate and more mindful of other people as opposed than me. So that was really great. But I think one thing is just realizing that, okay, so what do I want to establish when I come out of this? And I think the one sign that I kept getting was like going back to becoming 100% plant-based. So I went plant-based in 2011, and for a number of reasons, like I went back and forth, and then like when you're in a relationship and you kind of yoke with someone, you're like with them, you kind of don't want them to feel like they need to be that way, so you want to accommodate them, or at least I did, as much as I could. So I would always backslide on that department, knowing what happens in the agricultural business and knowing what these animals go through and the unethical aspects of the agriculture industry. So I realized every time I reintroduced animals into my life, like chaos would start happening. I wouldn't feel great about myself, and in that it reflects everything. You don't feel great about yourself, so then you're not thinking clearly, if you're not eating clearly, and you're not behaving clearly, and you're not acting clearly, and also you start stressing out. And another topic about stress that is like, oh. So, during this fasting, I think one thing that I felt very willed about was living authentically me. And authentically me is doing the ethically, morally right things. And I just started getting excited about being plant-based again, and creating all these dishes that I was like, oh, I'm gonna make ramen, I'm gonna make pastas, and I'm gonna show people how easy it is and how tasty it could be. The other day, me and my friend, we made chicken taquitos out of king mushrooms, and like seasoning it, and you could just shred it up into little chicken shreds, and it turned out being so delicious. And she was like, this is amazing. And it was all made from scratch. It was so fun, and bringing back community as you're eating the right things. So I think that's the biggest thing I got out of my fast, is going back to the roots of the things that I love and how I want to be after this. And it's like, I really appreciate here in LA, the diversity that we have, and I want to be able to preserve that. And I want people to be a little more consciously aware of like the decisions that they're making, of what kind of food they are putting in their mouths, or how healthy they are being, and what is the relationship between food and them? Like, what kind of relationship do you have? Like, are you eating when you're bored? Are you just eating because to feel quick pleasures? All those sorts of things. Really, like, if you look deeper into it and your relationship with food, and you see how unhealthy you may be, and tweaking those things and fixing those things can actually fix many aspects and areas of your life, because you're starting to become a little more consciously aware. You're becoming more awakened and more mindful, and that's just a karmatic effect that's going to boomerang right back. When you're being more mindful, things of that nature, like the good always brings back the good. It's like a boomerang. So I think living your life consciously and knowing right from wrong and doing the right things regardless of what everyone else is doing, just being more ethically aligned, will be a path of alignment for you as well. So the fast, I think I went on a tangent, but the fast was really, really great, because it's things that I always knew, but it just really like solidified, like, this is you, Heidi. Like, you are excited about health and wellness and eating right and doing the right things. Like, this is you. Kind of fell off your rat wagon, and I'm showing you that this is what excites you. And the fast kind of gets you a lot more clear-headed. You become a lot more focused, and definitely for me personally was a lot of gratification in source and knowing the powers that we have in our hands, and the decisions that we make in every present moment, how it affects every future outcome, regardless if you think like I'm just one person. Like, it's huge. So yeah, I think fasting for spiritual reasons is really great. I saw other testimonials, and people had miracles happen during their fast, and for me, I didn't have any sort of revelations or miracles. I think my revelations mostly always happen, not in a fast, more so in a very broken time. I get so many revelations as I'm coming out of that brokenness. So when I was in the fast, it was more so just clearing and detoxing my mind, and that allowed my body to detox. And once the detox of the mind happened, I was able to focus in more on being grateful, and focus in more on the essence of who I truly am, and what I believe in, and what I love. And also, loving yourself within fully and wholly, and just remembering the gifts of life is the most important thing that came out of this fast. And so yeah, if you guys are thinking of doing a fast, there's so many YouTube testimonials. I lost 20 pounds during my fast, and I am getting them all back, thank goodness, because it was a little too skinny. So if you're looking for weight loss reasons, yeah, you'll lose it initially, but once you come out of that fast, unless you're gonna eat a whole different way, the way, it might detox your palate so that you do eat a lot more healthier, and you're able to eat a lot less maybe. But if you go right back into like digging into a burger right after your fast or whatever, like I will guarantee you will just gain all that weight back. So I think you should dig a little deeper of why you want to do fast, and have more of a deeper meaning to it. And I think you'll be very satisfied with it. So I chose 8 days because Sundays are the days that I always choose to give my body rest and to be with Source. So I said, okay, well then I started on Sunday, and I'll pick back up on Monday. So that was my reasoning. I didn't really have like, oh, this is good, this is what the doctors say. So I think 24-hour fasting is really great as well. No water, no food, 3-day fasts. Like, it's all up to you and what you can handle. You know your body best and you know yourself best. And if you get through those challenging moments, like a prayer that I would always say is, Lord, I set aside the temptations of my flesh to be closer to you and to seek you, because you are bread and you are life and you are life source. And I don't need the worldly things to live off of. I just need your words, and your words are living. And so that's what got me through a lot of the stuff. So yeah, that was my 8-day fast in a nutshell. Bye.